Hello everyone, welcome back to the another episode of the Tech Guy. Today we have a couple of topics from Google. The whole Apple section is there today. Threads one, Threads has, and also some Copilot plus PCs and Gemini one. That is going to be a really confusing section, but yeah, let's just get into today's episode of our The Tech Guy podcast. First of all, I do wanna tell about the schedule. I think I am not uploading as to the schedule point we have said like every Friday, but I'm trying my best here according to what I can do. But I think just be patient towards. I think what I'm trying to say here is like I know we are on not schedule. I'm not on schedule on every Friday, but we are trying I'm trying my best to do it. And also on our newsletter, one small update on newsletter from now onwards. I think I will be only doing 2 newsletters per week. That is on Monday, that is Monday's newsletter section, that is we do news about tech, what was going on. And on Wednesday or on Friday we are not doing the 3-day newsletter like what we were doing before. Now we will be doing only the newsletters on Monday, that is news section, that is not going anywhere. But on Wednesday, on Friday, on not just those, both are the slots still remaining. On Monday and Friday, sorry, on Wednesday and Friday, I will be uploading some. I will be writing some on more rare topics that is going on in the tech industry on tech side, rather than just common topics and trendy topics that basically will be talked on this podcast only. So majority of the things will be talked on this podcast. So I figure out why just waste my time to write this on my podcast. I will just write it on my, so I will just write some different topics that we are not talking on this podcast, and maybe later in future we will talk of specific, we will make a specific podcast over those topics in future, might be, because it's just like there are some tech news going on around the world that people are not looking into that much, but they go pile up and just get into these big events, so right from now we will be doing only and only Monday's news section, and one of the 2 days I will be uploading only one newsletter, or not even be uploading, because of our main channel videos will be going on there too. Like it's just like the thing is everything is done by me alone only here. So majority of the things you see here are done by me. I am the one who's editing, I'm the one who's scripting, I'm the one who's making this podcast and even making notes for it. So it's difficult trying to be on schedule, but just wanted to give you this our newsletter schedule that will be, I think, I don't think I will upload it a specific schedule or anything, but just saying Monday newsletter will be there, and any newsletter if I can think about any kind of a topic. That's it. So let's just get into the today's podcast. We have a couple of interesting topics, couple of theories, and let's just start our podcast. So today I wanna call that there is whole bits and bits information, couple of updates from Apple going on, what is going on their side. So first of all we will go with the Apple section. So couple of Apple updates. So wait a minute. So Apple, if you are using Apple Pay Later, so Apple is shutting down Apple Pay Later months after its launch. So basically Apple Pay Later is a feature that was on the US only. So I don't know, I don't think majority of the people who are watching right now even be using it, because it was not well received too. So it's unlike an Apple. Just wanted to give you an update on that, because you don't see much of from the Apple side getting shut down or getting just like slide down, or even just cut off. It's like they even it's like they are not Google, right? So that's what I'm just trying to say. It's not like an Apple, but they are shutting it down. And I have written here, doing the fintech work is difficult for any company, even a trillion dollar company like Apple. Like financial, doing this kind of features like pay later, Apple is those kind of features are difficult and complicated. And Apple Pay really, it does take a majority of cut whenever you pay there too. But yeah, just wanted to say is next update is Vision Pro team is reportedly focused on building on a cheaper headset. So recently I just read a Verge article where this is literally the topic of that article, that says Apple Vision Pro team is reportedly focused on building a cheap headset. My take on it is they should be already working on it after revealing that $3,500 headset that is nowhere near where their competition like Meta headsets like Quest, like it is just like $500, does your work, supports majority of the games or softwares developers around the world because it's for longer period and it's much more cheaper for the people. Yeah, but what I will say here is, like, let's just get into my couple of points, then we will go to the another section that is much more important, I think. So, and the first concern should be about weight before the price, at least as I see it. So Vision Pro is great, but the weight it has over the front side of it, as majority of the review says, is so much that it's like causes headache, eye strain sometimes for most of the people who uses it for longer period of time. So it is one of its drawbacks. But I think when they like if they are theoretically making a cheaper version of Vision Pro, that is like let's call it just Vision, you know, because it's not Pro like $3,500. But I do think that Vision Pro should be lightweighted if they are making a cheaper version, and not just for cheaper version, for even like the high end version too. They should try to make a cheaper version. I know it's just a first generation headset, and I'm definitely waiting for the next gen Vision Pro. I don't know if they will announce it this year in September, their iPhone event, but I think they will definitely announce it at least next year. That's the cheaper version of Vision Pro. And the next gen of Vision Pro at least should be lightweight. And the reason why is heavy, I think, is because of the heavy glass, I think, in front of it, because we have definitely seen the inside of Vision Pro and they're trying to make it lightweight, but just because of the front glass and the aluminum kind of a thing, it is definitely heavyweight because of that, and it's lean heavyweight towards forward like this, and it's definitely is one of its problems. But the third point is, then it comes the price and what feature they will be cutting down that less expensive model have. So majority of my concerns is like if they are making a cheaper version of Vision Pro, then what's the selling point of it? Is it just cheap that we are going to buy Vision Pro? I think they are, I think, uh, if they are working on a cheaper model, I think they should, I think it's total, I think majority of the selling point of the cheaper version obviously will be its price point, which will be cheap, and also definitely some of the I think features will be cutting down, just because obviously they have to differentiate between those two, whatever they are going to sell to the consumers. But let's say what are the features they can remove, or even like are they even trying to make a different kind of cheaper headset is like one of the most big question. Even though I said they should be working on it, but as a company, I think if you put in their shoes, I think rather than just making a different headset, try to bring the Vision Pro headset, that is first gen. make it less cheaper, I think. Yeah, but that's about Vision Pro. But moving on to the next Apple thing that we are going to talk today is Apple deal with OpenAI and how it is actually working. So let's just start with. So Apple's let's just talk about the Apple's deal with OpenAI and how it actually works. So article written by Bloomberg, where app where they says that no one is paying here, no one, like either Apple or even OpenAI. It helps both of them as they get their AI to billions of people users, and Apple gets a new AI on the device that can do complex tasks in their Apple intelligence that helps them because they don't have their own AI too. So my one of the most, let's say, so I think Apple, so majority of the when you I think if you have seen the last podcast we did, I think that basically was all about WWDC's Apple podcast event. So it was covering whole that event. It was one of the, it is way too long, but definitely do check out specifically the last part where we talk about the Apple and OpenAI confusing deal over each other. But what I want to state here is one of the most, I think, confusing things that I've been processing, and I have written down a couple of points here. So I think when Bloomberg made this article where neither of them getting was paid, it did make sense for me because Apple or even OpenAI not paying each other. Like just because both having mutual benefit to overseas, like ChatGPT gets billions of users, even data too. We may not even know that because even data too, and their brand ChatGPT gets to the billions of Apple users all around the world who are using iPhones. Second thing is, one of the majority questions I raised in the last podcast too is, will Apple make their own LLM, like large language model, just like Gemini or ChatGPT? Even to the point where after the event, after a couple of days, Apple not no even in the same event day only, Apple did also make a statement where they are also working on with Google with their partnership with Gemini, bringing it to uh, Apple Intelligence. And I was like, why? The thing is, when you have a deal with OpenAI, then now, and you are also getting a deal from Gemini. So if they are on the background also working on the Gemini to bring on the iPhone, I think what I did came up from this is just, I think Apple is trying to not like they are playing on a thin line of their whole mission towards about its privacy. Let me tell you. So one of the questions that we raised last year was why Apple is not making their own LLM. It is hard to make their own LLM. It's not that easy as we say. Even the reason why Google make their Gemini is like, even the reason why Google announced their Gemini, or even like before it was Gemini, it was called Bard. The reason why Google just can put Gemini in front of people so quickly after the ChatGPT bloom was gotten is just because they are working on AI for like past decade, at least I can say, because Google is always an AI company. They have already AI features integrated on Pixel phones, you can say, like from Pixel 6 only. Yeah, so it is not that they are not AI company. On the background they are working on lots of stuff for them to make, for them to random, if they even if they come tomorrow and randomly say we have the new AI models coming in, I won't be surprised because they are working on AI models for past years to come. On the other hand, Apple is working on their own ecosystem, making their own devices better. And last couple of like 4 to 5 years ago, 4 years ago, they entered Apple Silicon. So they are working on their own thing. But Apple's main thing here is we are not should not forget is even they do market over that is about privacy. Privacy is one of the most selling points into their all devices, not just iPhones, but also their iCloud, also their other all devices that we say. They say if you use our ecosystem, your data will be protected on our ecosystem. That's their main selling point. Even heck yeah, my mom. The reason why my mom buy the iPhone is just because of she knows that Apple has better privacy. We know that even though Google and Samsung has good privacy, but the marketing has done so much well by Apple through their ads is that privacy. So even though even if I think my mom buyed her first iPhone just because she does a lot of banking stuff and she knows only one thing that Apple is good in terms of privacy just because through ads that are played on TV. So I think you should try to understand that uh, that level of marketing is done in terms of privacy. Making their own LM not just gets that privacy the mission of their privacy or their selling point harm, but it will also affect the trust of their users. Let me tell you, LLMs using these like large models like ChatGPT or even Gemini, they do need your data. They take their data to the servers, and then those servers process those data, and then your results are given to your SEO. So even Google openly says that Gemini will take your data. You should know it. Like they will say it when you first use Gemini over there. So Apple thin don't want to work on that Google path where they are going, where it has become just a part of the community and the tech is just like how Google is taking our data and we have just accepted that as a like community only, like okay, Google is taking our data, we have just accepted it. But Apple is, like I said, is more about privacy. They don't want to make a large language model of their own and say, oh, or we are taking your data and processing it on our servers. So when that happens, it will the reason when that happens, the majority of the concerns will be about privacy. Questions will be raised, and it will definitely harm Apple, I think. But on the other hand, when they partner with Google's, sorry, when they partner with ChatGPT, they get to say this dialogue where in the event also they say it, or even after the interviews when they say this couple of times, is that whenever your data is given to ChatGPT, they it's like you are giving your data to ChatGPT, not they are. So it's like safe bet for them because they say in event like when the WWDC was happening, they say the only complex task will be gone to the chat GPT whenever you give permission to the chat GPT. But one of my concerns was like, what are these complex tasks are you even talking about? In the example, when they are showing keynotes, one of the complex tasks for them in the event was just making a recipe out of the things you have. Like, is that a complex task? Another perspective, another thing about the confusing thing about that was not just like first like it's not just about what is a complex task for you and what are the things that are going to chat gpt. Yeah. And whenever the other another thing is they also talk about their own private cloud computing. So that is also one of the things like they are using cloud computing to to implement their AI Apple Intelligence in smartphones like their devices, but they like if they are using private cloud computing like that to make their own servers like to do the task on Apple Intelligence, why not make them your just own server and say, oh, we have made in private cloud computing, and your all questions will be going to there and just like get your answer. So no data will be given to anyone. Like it's still confusing, right? So that is what one of the most like I think confusing things we also talked about last week, like last part. But I wanted to briefly expand on this. Like this is like I think bigger question I think all should be talking about in the right now, that is concerning. And OpenAI don't have that kind of a reputation in front of us, even though they are such a good their model, their ChatGPT is good in terms of like I definitely use ChatGPT and it's good. But what their like past couple of months have been happening on there is their privacy matters, or using people's voice without their concerns. Like it's not like secret, right? Everyone knows it what their company. But another aspects of one of the most another aspect like a strategy played by a Apple was I think in the AI like Apple Intelligence. Let me tell you. So when they announce Apple Intelligence, they say it will be working on the M series, so M1 or later from M1, and on only on A16, I think 15 Pros, not even 15 or not even 14 Pro, 14 Pros. The reason they say that the neural engine that is on 15 Pro is only on 15 Pro, that is not on 14. So they say that the processor that requires that kind of I think uh, requires that kind of uh, power to do those AI Apple Intelligence tasks intelligence to work on need that specific processors that is only on 15 Pro and M1 and later on. That is a great selling point where Apple just says like, oh, you were using 14, now you have to get newer phones from 15 just because you can't use those Apple Intelligence on your devices now. So majority like what I'm trying to say here is like they have just got a new selling point on their new Apple models, especially iPhones. New selling point, what I'm trying to say is that from 16 specifically, they will majority of will be focusing on their AI. AI has become a selling point for them now. So that's why if people were using 13 or even 14, 12 or up to the 11, people who are using these phones definitely want to give AI Apple Intelligence. So now that is a good strategy from Apple, I think. And it they are so I think as a company they are so well trained by what people will be concerned, what questions will be raised. I think people like other companies should definitely learn from them, because like they have so good answers to any other questions that have been raised specifically about AI, like why it only works on 15 Pro, why not 14 Pros, or even like before models they say it is only the chips are only on 15 Pro, that like that neural chips, like crazy. But this is one of the most like I think theories I wanted to talk about Apple, and also why they are not making their own LLM just because of their privacy things. But I think in future, what I'm hoping for major mostly is on-device processing that is much more secure and much more convincing as a consumer, that for me, I know my data is not going anywhere else. Like right now also, I'm the things I'm using like ChatGPT, Gemini, other AI tools, I know that my data is going and I'm okay with it. But the phone is a really, really personal thing to us, and we don't want our phones data which should be going to any other companies, not even Apple. So I think companies out there should be focusing on on-device computing most of the time, like making processors so good that on-device processing becomes easily for the to do, and note majority of the task is done on device. And let's say if they, I think next 4 to 5 years from now it will be, I think these companies should focus on that, and the company which gets is gets it right and tries to make a good, I think tries to make a good processor for the devices that only happens on device, I think wins this race, because people specifically, majority of the people will be focusing on privacy things from now onwards. People are getting concerned about it because of AI data getting leaks, you know. So I think that is also one of the most concerns there out. But that was the whole Apple and their AI things. But another thing, another thing that did happen after a week. So it is straight of Verge article also. Uh, so another, it says Apple may delay AI features in the EU because of its big tech law. They says, so what it means is basically EU Digital Marketing Act. Under that act, Apple says is like because of that basically Digital Marketing Act, they are forced to delay those AI features for the EU users. But one of the most major concern is like, even though they like says is we are delaying because of that act, they have not specifically mentioned what are the reasons, what from like basically from what are the reasons they are dealing this their AI features. Like they just say just because of this it's EU's act. I think it's just like features like iPhone mirroring, share play, screen share enhancements, app AI to users. Specifically, I think I will. Uh, so Apple statement is here like we are concerned that the in, inter interoperability requirements of DMA could force us to compromise the integrity of our products in ways that risk our users and data security. We are committed to collaborating with EU in an attempt to find a solution that would enable us to deliver this feature to our customers without compromising their safety. I don't know. So this is just like talking BS. I don't know what didn't mention a specific thing about why just because of that act there is safety concern for EU users. They didn't mention it. They just said the specific statement I just said to you. But also this is like there are going to be lots of AI, Apple and AI stuff coming months also. Like the thing is, even though iOS 18 beta version is out there, Apple Intelligence is specifically not out for everyone. What I'm trying to say here is it will there will be lot of like buzz around this Apple and their AI systems. I think it is going to be, I think, only bad also. The bad impact, I think people don't understand is AI hallucination. So let's say people who are the Apple users specifically have a problem and they ask a specific task on Apple and it hallucinates, people gets into problem, Apple gets into trouble, and Apple has to face, I think, then people's, not just people voice but the government's voice, and get in front of the Congress in the US. I think that kind of chaos is going to happen in future for Apple, and Tim Cook has to be in front of Congress, just like how Mark Zuckerberg and TikTok CEO and other like people have to like sit in front of, like how all social media platforms. Tim Cook has to be in front of it also, in front of, and should and be giving answers to the Congress in front of everyone. It is that kind of chaos that Apple is entering. But let's say how Apple deals with it specifically. They have strategically, like, they know the power AI has flaws right now and it hallucinates. That's why they collaborated with ChatGPT, because I think AI, it will be taking time to reduce hallucination. Like, I can't say that that will be completely eradicated. uh, AI will hallucinate, it will not be gone, but sorry, but uh, um, that's why I think their deal makes so sense right now. Like, even if they someone complains about Apple Intelligence giving them like because majority of the AI or like doing complex tasks will be going to ChatGPT, and Apple just definitely just blame ChatGPT, and let's see how it works out. It's let's like how I said, it's confusing. I am excited what will happen future of AI with Apple, and we are excited to use this feature on our phones. But moving forward to next updates. Mm, so speaking of AI, one of the so let's I will not be dramatic here first of all. So Gemini, let's talk about some Google AI stuff. Gemini is available on in India right now. So basically, I live in India, so Gemini got available in India for I think last week also, last week, or I think yeah, last week. No, 2 weeks ago, just after like events, Apple event happened. So Gemini is available in India in 9 different languages. Sundar even not with, I don't say to it, but he did a thread on it, uploaded a thread on it. What do we even say? Like we say, oh, he tweeted this tweet on Twitter, even though it has been changed now. What do we say? Like, let's forget it. So Sundar says in his thread, like, exciting news! In today we are launching Gemini app in India, available in all English and all 9 different languages. So let's just uh, when they say it got announced, like it is now available, I immediately go to App Store and try to download the Gemini app. It is not there. Then I was like confused. They say it is announced. Why can't I see a Gemini app in App Store? Then I go to the Google's website, like Google's Gemini website, to find where it is actually. Then after going to that website, I found out that Gemini don't will be not having a separate app. Gemini is integrated in Google app only. And when I go to that Google app and just see the Gemini logo were up there, and I was like totally literally shocked and surprised by this thing. So why I'm basically surprised by Google's and Gemini getting integrated in Google main app only, not getting a separate app, just like how ChatGPT is. The thing is, the thing is here is for last couple of months, even in our newsletter, one of the newsletter I talk about when Google rebranded Bard to Gemini, where I also talk about in if you have read newsletter, I will link it down below that news specific part of the newsletter. I have already talked about it that what do even Google want from Gemini? So one of the most major concern about for me, not just concern, but I am just like same confused here is like what is Google trying to do here with Gemini? Is it an assistant? Because it definitely works like an assistant. It says it has we can definitely talk to it just like how Google Assistant is there. Like then if it is an assistant, why then Google Assistant exists? Just replace with it Google Assistant, or even great, just let them work together. Whenever I use Google Assistants to fetch, use Gemini in behind it, so then everything will be at one place. No, they didn't do that, and integrated Gemini separately, a tab in that app. And if you want to use Gemini features, specifically the talking assistant type, you have to code in that specific app and use it. And I'm like, why? Why do make two? I'm like, why? Why do make two separate assistants there? And I was basically thinking is like, are they rebranding this whole AI into assistants? Like, is Google Assistant going to be dropped dead and it is going to be replaced by Gemini? And it is not even happening too. Even in their Google, I even didn't even mention about Google Assistant thing, and I was surprised by it. And also another thing about it is is that if Gemini is not going to replace Google Assistants, one of the most problems will be if I'm trying to have a communication with Google Assistants, trying to get things done, what it will be happening is like, okay, if I want to do a complex task, it will say let Gemini do it. Then why can't you just do it? Like you are just being made by the same company. Integrate both Google Assistant, Gemini together, so that we can use even Gemini in Google Assistants. They have the golden opportunity that Apple don't have, to integrate Siri in their basically integrate Siri with uh, any other large language model, and they don't want to even Apple. Here Google, you have a big chance. You have your own LLM, that is Gemini, and already have a voice assistant that is already is a popular name among people. Why don't just like mix them and let Google Assistants use Gemini features? That is what I'm trying to say. Why do make two separate apps and nerf down here Google Assistants just because Gemini should they just want a Gemini should be a separate app? And I'm like, why? It raises questions. I want that answer in Google's next upcoming event that is happening, the Pixel event. And I definitely want them to be clear on what they want to do. It's like I don't want them to get rid of Google Assistants because it's a better name than Gemini, and I don't want Gemini to be replaced as my assistants on my Android devices or in my phone. It's like I want to, like, it's the reason, like, you don't know those like hard, like, there is so much like hard reasons not to use, like, the difficulty to get Gemini in people's head is so like Google Hey Google has become so popular among majority of the general public too, even has so much popular that people use it on daily basis too. But replacing that with a totally new word like Gemini doesn't seem to have a good impact on its users, right? What I'm trying to say here is like it's still confusing, still shocking that Google is not even mentioned Google Assistant for like past 6 months. Like I don't know, I didn't know when did they even mention Google Assistants and talk about its future or how it's going to be. I'm The only hope is the next event that is happening next month. and I'm just excited to know what they are going to do there. It's like the fate is just like literally the fate. I think we will call it the fate of Google Assistants, Gemini or Google Assistants, you know, and there is Google in front of us. But that is a big thing, and let's see how it goes. I definitely want Google Assistants as to win because it's like a basic thing to do. Google just integrate Gemini with Google Assistants so we can work out like so we can use Gemini's power in Google Assistants, and don't let Gemini overtake Google Assistants. Like let Gemini be Gemini, it its own AI LLM and a whole different thing. Do not make a separate whole AI thing in your phone device for people to like just confuse like okay, there is Google Assistants, there is Gemini. What should I even use it? You know, that was a rant I was having on Google about what they have done to Google Assistants. But moving forward to it, threads, couple of threads update. So I think we will not. There are lots of update in threads. So the thing is, we'll miss couple of weeks. Like I think we missed 2 weeks. We missed 2 weeks, and this podcast was scheduled just after the Apple podcast, but I was not able to record it. But there are lots of update on threads. I think we will just cut it down and make it. There are lots of updates piled up. So what I have done is basically made it in two versions of podcast. There will be this podcast. We will talk some updates, and there will be next week podcast. We definitely will be happening about other same topics related to same threads only, but we are not talking. I'm not taking that. I just don't want to make my podcast again 2 hours, 2.5 hour long, and make it hard for me to edit. That's it I'm trying to say here. But threads has launched their own API services. So Missouri on thread just says that I'm going to say is excited to announce the Threads API is launching today. You can move now your favorite third-party application to publish posts, reply to others, see insights, and more. Hope this helps businesses and creator manage their Threads presence at scale. As always, open to hearing feedback and suggestions on how you can improve. That was Missouri on Threads. So Threads has launched an API. API is basically application programming interface that acts as a messenger between specifically software applications to software applications. So if you don't know, Twitter they had a couple of uh, third-party apps like I don't know the names I think, but Twitter and Reddit both. So when what does it say is basically uh, what does what What does just basically API means? With the help of API, you can make your own app and link that app with the threads. You can make your own UI, on a user interface, on design, how you want to make it, interact with that app and use threads API to connect that your app to the threads. So whatever you do interactions, what they post, replies on those app, people users on those app will also be seen on this main threads app too, just because there is link between them, just because of APIs in between them. That's how I think how basic thing basically how can that's the basically how can explain what API is. So I don't know how it will work out. The threads app is basically good. I think we talked in the last podcast where gave my appreciation towards how beautifully done the web version of threads is. The mobile app is not that good, but it's okay. I just definitely need two section people where I see my following and for you page. I definitely need that. It was before, now it is not there. I just want that. Zucker, please. Yeah, because I don't want to just scroll in that one specific region for you page. That definitely ruins my experience on threads. That's why in Twitter too. That's why the reason I love Twitter for right now is majority is it has the following tab separate where I can just see the tweets I want to see rather than just like the whole bunch of tweets that I just don't want to get in even involved with. So APIs are good. Uh, Moving forward, threads update Fediverse edition. So if you don't know, the Fediverse thing is there. They have introduced Threadiverse like past couple of months ago. Uh, I think we like I also even wrote a specific whole different news I think it was a whole newsletter about Fediverse. I think it's named with the future of social media, and I definitely gave my thoughts over how Fediverse is actually going to change the social media and how people interact with it. So if you're not familiar with Fediverse, is basically Fediverse is the web version that are all integrated with each other. So for an example, so let's say in Fediverse there are a couple of social media apps that are integrated with each other. Let's say Threads, Mastodon, Blue Sky. These are a couple of same related apps that are integrated each other. What does Fediverse? Because of Fediverse, what does happen here is, let's say you are just using Threads, but you also want to post it on, not just post, but with the help what with the help of Fediverse, what you can do whenever you are posting on Threads, you can turn on the Fediverse post on Fediverse 2. What it does, whenever you post a specific thread, an image, whatever you want to post on a thread, when you post it, just because it is in Fediverse region, Fediverse integrated, your thread will be also shown in the other social media apps like Blue Sky, Mastodon. So it is basically the all tweets and all, not tweets, yeah, if Twitter joins Fediverse, but it is not right now. But basically all your threads, all your messages that you post or images that you post on a specific app, you don't it's just have you just don't need to have a specific account for any every other app, every other social media. Like people from specific those app can see your post, and that app like people from Mastodon can see your thread that is posted on Mastodon only. They don't have to come on threads and see that thread. Even they can interact with your threads, even liking it, commenting on it, even to the point they can follow you back, and you are following, and you will all get those messages on your Threads app. So it is well integrated social media interface where everything is well, it's just like they are working in a group. What I mean, the reason I said in that newsletter also it is the future of social media is, right now the social media is ruled by, not just social media, but like the whole internet is ruled by these four, like three to four big social media app: Instagram, Twitter, I think Snapchat, now Threads. These are the four most biggest apps that are out there, which have more than like 100 million users. And the thing is, if a new social media app wants to come in the face, like new social media app wants to come into this race, they will definitely get crushed on. If let's say a specific photo, a specific a social media that is only does photos, then why would even people switch from Instagram to there? Like Instagram does photos, Instagram does videos, Instagram does stories, Instagram does DMs really well. So, and I think for social I think for social media platforms, there it is a long-term game, not a short-term game. Like the whole social media I just mentioned, except threads, like they are like except threads, even threads is just like a link to your Instagram account. But what I'm trying to say is these all social media platforms have played the long-term game that is for like past 10 to 15 years, specifically Twitter, Facebook, like Instagram. Like they are for like past 10 years on the industry. And what I'm trying to say, it's a long short game, and even if you try to go in this game, this whole social media, I think you will definitely will be crushed. Like let's say you just make a specific app about photos, like not just photos. Let's say you make a specific uh, app that has a specific function, and the next day you see that Instagram has just copy pasted your feature there, just like how they stole stories from Snapchat. What I'm trying to say here is like they can definitely crush you. So with the help of this Fediverse, what will happen is not just people don't have to. What I'm trying to say, people don't have to make different accounts from this different social media app. Let's say I make a in future social media app just uh, for photographers, let's say. Then people, peop, let's say I make a social media for photographers where you can put photos at every, let's say every aspect ratio, panorama photos. Your photos don't get compressed just like how Instagram does, or different types of photos, just photos, nothing else. So even if I make that photos app, I will not be getting that much kind of an audience or engagement to run my app, to run ads on those, and to make my app profitable for me to run it. With the help of Fediverse, what will happen is that not just like, let's say if my app is connected to Instagram and people from Instagram see the post from my social media apps and they can interact in between them. So now that I don't have to think about audience, I have already, with the help of Fediverse, majority of the audience that are getting interacted through this post, that are a link between them, even likes, follow, share. What I'm trying to say is it has a great positive future, optimistic thing. I think I'm trying to say here, and I think you should definitely be looking forward. I think people who are out there who wants to make social media apps, I think Fediverse is new gateway for those people. And please do make new social media apps, and we do need, because the reason I'm saying is like I know people do hate social media apps, but there is so much untapped potential. Like I said right now, the photography app, even though Instagram does photos, it is so cluttered with reels and videos, like long videos or even like posts. So I'm trying to say like there is no like specific photo section there on Instagram that you can go on. There are just photos. Their majority is the focus on the reels, and people love to watch reels. So I know photos is kind of a niche, not even niche. People do really love photos. People just make photos app, that I'm trying to say. Social media. Oh, moving forward, before that, what to drink? I think last but not the least, I think last week talked about. I think last week in the Microsoft pod, where we talk about Microsoft whole event. I think that was our first podcast where we talk about Copilot plus PCs. So now the Copilot plus PCs are out, not the Surface. Surface Pro is also out, but I think uh, there are lots of complication going on with the recall feature. I think we have talked about it in that only pod, but if you don't know, go to that podcast and listen, I will say. But Copilot Plus species reviews are out now, so I think, yeah, let's like I said, recall feature is delayed for indefinite time by Microsoft when people pointed, like cybersecurity guys pointed out its potential threat towards your data, but it has been indefinite. It is not. It has not been opt-in any other social media. Sorry, any other Copilot Plus PCs. Even Surface Pro don't have those. So I think so. After the criticism they got of the potential recall feature threat towards your data was it was taking screenshots and it was not safely protected in your PC even though it was locally stored. Even like people like someone who can get access to your PC can definitely uh, get those pictures. Like it was so vulnerable that even whenever you are typing passwords, banking details, it would just take the screenshot of those, and that is not good. So Microsoft responded towards it and says that feature will be not default on, and basically they say is just that they are working on features and firewalls and multiple security layers to it to not easily get access towards those images screenshots. So let's see how it like it's to this date I'm recording, they have still not got out those updates of recall feature. They are just like holding it back. But Copilot Plus PCs reviews are out. Couple of them I will couple of the reviews I will highly recommend to watch is Dev 2D made a video on Lenovo, that is a Copilot Plus PC, and then there is a Verge article also about Microsoft Surface Pro Surface. Both reviews are out too on Verge article too. I will link them down below. Basically, the reviews are really good. Positive response from both Dev 2D on Lenovo's laptop, and the Verge article also says it is a positive kind of response towards a uh, like now like the Verge article says that they are kind of in the competition of PCs, and Dev today also made a video on Lenovo, and he says it is a pretty much good I think budget laptop that will not budget laptop but a good pricing for a good laptop, he says. Definitely go to watch that video and the Surface Pro review article. I will link down in the description. I think that's it for, yeah, these are some of the updates that I was going to make in the next week of the WWDC pod, but never mind, we are here. I have uploaded it, but I think next week podcast will be on time. And I can't promise 100% just because I'm just leaving city tomorrow only. So I don't know this will how I will be making that podcast in time. But yeah, trying to my best making it time schedule. But this is it for this week's podcast. Thank you for joining in and listening my Google's and Apple's rant over it. Some theories, there are a lot of theories in these videos, but always seem excited about tech, whatever is going on. And I will see you guys in the next week. Thank you for joining in for the Tech Guy podcast. Thank you and see you next week. See ya.